Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anton Inshutin. I'm a partner at RTP Global, and I'm here on stage with the founder and CEO of Drover, Felix Leuschner.
Thank you.
So Felix, can you describe in a few words what Drover does and how maybe it's different from Cluno?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, thanks a lot for having us. It's great to be here. So I think we probably, I'm not going to sound like a broken record. I think you're probably sold on the user story and the user experience, and Drover does exactly that. There, I think, are some differences. So we also have a fully digital user experience. We also do real-time credit checks. We, however, are then structured quite differently. So Drover is a commission-based marketplace, and our vision really is to create the new ownership model for the future, to really replace what the dealership distribution model was with a contemporary, fully digital ownership model for the next generation. We have, however, taken the approach that there are lots of incumbents out there. They're very good at buying cars at deep discounts. They have massive balance sheets. They have huge fleets out there. There are OEMs out there who look for new revenue channels and opportunities. So what we have done, we structured our model on the supply side as a true win-win partnership model with the industry. So we partner with leading OEMs like BMW, Volkswagen, Toyota, PSA, many more. We now work with leasing companies like LeasePlan, one of the biggest car owners in the world, owning hundreds of thousands of vehicles worldwide. ALD, we work with large franchise dealership groups, Pendragon, Inchcape, billion-dollar listed public companies, and we provide them with a new opportunity, a new channel to monetize cars with extremely profitably very high ROI through our marketplace to our audience. And we are really a tech platform at its core, at its heart, to create a really seamless user experience to our customers, but equally to our suppliers. So provide them with the fleet management tools. We have a full digital insurance product baked into our model. We're regulated as an insurance intermediary. We work with Munich Re Digital Partners as our insurer, and really try to bring all the pieces together to create a fantastic high NPS experience. Our NPS is about 70, double the classic retail-based experience, and do that in an asset-light, highly scalable level. So we have tens and tens of millions of assets on our platform that we monetize through a commission model that are not ours. We haven't paid for them. We don't have any residual value risk. We don't have any operating costs. We don't have any balance sheet or inventory risk. We built this model as a win-win with the industry.
Thank you, Felix. Now, we hear from now and then from some customers and the investors that the car subscription model is not sufficiently different from leasing or personal contract purchase schemes in the UK. How do you convey the difference of the car subscription business model relative to leasing?
Yeah, I think that may be intuitive if you think of car subscription as a finance model. However, if you think of car subscription as a retail category, it's totally different. So we're turning something that exists sort of as a lead gen, classifieds model online, but then becomes an offline purchase transaction. So we turn that into an online-only model, and with that, dramatically change the overall user experience, and make that a contemporary experience to someone who's used to, taking a tier scooter or ordering on Deliveroo, and giving them the same kind of transactional experience that they're used to. So, we're often being described by the press as the Netflix of cars. And that's fine, but really what we're building is the Amazon of cars. 20% of retail transactions are online, and cars, it's really close to zero. That's the opportunity for us. So we want to turn this into an online shopping category, and that's vastly different to what the leasing market does, which remains an offline experience.
Okay, thank you. And as a marketplace, obviously, you have to always kind of balance supply and demand. So I presume on the demand side, you can drive that through various digital performance marketing channels. But do you think that there's enough awareness about the service that Drover has to offer among your potential audience, or do you think that you need to go through maybe different channels with broader audience reach like TV in order to educate the audience about the benefits of the car subscription model?
True. So it's a new category, and you're not going to do that sort of on a one-liner on Google AdWords. So that creates a lot of above-the-line marketing as well. And also true, maybe touching on the model again, on the supply and demand dynamics, it's pretty easy to go buy cars. I mean, you can do that every day. You can approach fleet sales teams. They're going to give you a catalog of vehicles, tend to be at 30% discount. You can become a licensee of one, like the kind of rental association. So, building this business model asset heavy is quite straightforward to approach. We took a different approach. We did this as a real tech company with a tech approach, and then catalyzing these marketplace dynamics is hard in the beginning, but we got to some real scale now. We're turning over tens of millions in GMV, several thousand of concurrent subscribers on the platform, which is growing very fast month on month. So we now got to make this spiral, this catalyst work. Some of our suppliers, they buy cars at over 50% of discount. We're not going to compete on the size of our balance sheet, so we allow them to kind of drive this price challenge with us. Prices on our platform are continuously coming down, lifetime value is going up, conversion is going up. And that's the first place. You need to have great offer, provide an amazing user experience, build a viral loop into your product, and then, which is exactly the stage we're at, we have done that. It's working. Now it's the time to really accelerate. So what we're doing, we invest certainly in all the classic performance marketing channels, but we're also now doing above-the-line TV performance, DRTV, which is working fantastically well, but much more above the funnel. And one of our sort of strongest metrics is our TV viewer to web visitor rate, which is broadly 10x any other ad form, and which is not due to our amazing creative. I would love it to be, but it's about that product promise. This story that you heard repeatedly now from different companies just is what customers want. It's a contemporary experience, and that drives that demand. So, and now we're really in that mode that we're accelerating the message and turn that into further subscriber growth for us.
Thank you. You've briefly touched upon that you work with the dealers on the supply side. What are the other sources of supply, and how do you see them evolving? And do you think that the every car subscription service may eventually evolve to a full stack, sort of an asset-heavy model, the one that is Fair is developing in the US?
Yeah, so I think based on everything I can see on my business, I think we got a fantastic model that's working, and we will scale that. And we have done that in a way that we don't have the operations on our side, so really it scales now extremely fast. And we believe that will continue. I mean, with regards to the overall market, I think let's take the UK market where we're present and where we launched. We've got 10 million car transactions every year, 2 to 3 million used cars, 7 to 8 million used cars that are being sold every year. So it's a massive market. There's enormous volumes being pushed in through the traditional channels. So I think we're not really competing now with some of the other market entrants. I think we're competing with the status quo, with the industry, with car finance as a broad category. And I think that's the area to really steal market share from.
Thank you. There's clearly a trend of declining personal car ownership in the larger cities, which is kind of caused by congestion, higher parking fees, and then on the other side also by things like proliferation of taxi e-hailing, car sharing, and more recently the rise of micromobility. How are the car manufacturing sort of looking at the car subscription model? Is that a lifesaver for them? Do you think that the industry, the car manufacturing industry, may undergo the same changes that happened in the music industry with Spotify or a video industry with Netflix, where the subscription has become the dominant consumption pattern? All of the car manufacturers are now trying to experiment also with this car subscription model, right? In light of that, how do you perceive yourself as an independent marketplace operator? Will you not end up competing with your own suppliers in the future?
Yeah, so I think being a asset-light tech play, we see ourselves really as the solution for exactly that, to enable that change. And our model, our pitch to the OEMs we're working with is, one, it's profitable. You're making fantastic ROI on your assets. Second, it's incremental because your classic, age demographic that you're serving is, people in their kind of mid-50s, typically for most premium OEMs. We reach a customer that is in their mid to late 30s, that's significantly more female than the market. So really, you're creating new brand relationships. You're reaching a market you're not really present in, and a customer that you have a hard time reaching. So really, this is totally incremental to your business. It's adding, it's not cannibalizing. And we can show that in our data. The people that we introduce to the brands we work with are, in almost all cases, 100% new to those brands. So that's amazing. So I think the way we're positioning ourselves is to become the channel of the future. And OEMs actually don't do a lot of distribution themselves. They work with third-party dealerships to distribute vehicles. So now actually thinking and going through another channel intuitively is very straightforward for them. So what we really want to become is bridge their business model into the future and be a pathway into the future, serving a new demographic rather than competing directly. We're the enabler for them into this new market.
Thank you. Recently, Fair stated that Germany is going to be their first international market. Obviously, Cluno has just announced, Nico has just announced a large round of financing. I know that Fahren, which is an asset-light marketplace, is also fundraising here in Germany. Porsche is experimenting with the car subscription model as well. So it looks like there will be quite a lot of competition in Germany in the coming months and years. What are your international expansion plans, and how many players do you think a country like Germany can sustain in the car subscription category?
Yeah, very good point. So we're probably at a very similar stage than the previous company who presented. And international is very firmly on our roadmap because we don't have operations. We are leveraging, piggybacking on the operations of our suppliers. Our business is inherently scalable. We have a tech product that inherently scales. Our insurance product scales into European markets. And what's happening now is actually that the international question is brought to us by our suppliers, by the big OEMs, by the big leasing companies we're working with, who now have this proof of concept working in one market. How can we now make this bigger and make this a true European play? So this is firmly on our agenda, on our roadmap. At the same time, we're talking about a massive market here. We want to, 10x the business that we have in the UK in the next couple of years. But at the same time, the European opportunity is there. The door is wide open. And it is such a vast market that I think our view, at least, is we don't look at Fair, we don't look at other competitors. We look at the incumbents in the market. Under the hood, the models are actually slightly differentiated. The terms, the offer, new cars, used cars, what it actually is, how the model works. And I think there's plenty of space now for a number of players. Of course, we're going to be competing to some extent on the same customer, but it's fundamentally a vast market, and the true competition are the incumbents. It's not the other challenger.
Okay, thank you. And the final question, with so many players in the car subscription segment being in the fundraising mode right now, what are your fundraising plans? Are we going to hear anything from you in terms of new rounds anytime soon?
Very likely. So I have no news to publicly disclose yet, but I think we're well on track to make an announcement in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Felix. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening.
Thank you.